What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another live stream here, analyzing Bitcoin across the time frames and looking at some really cool indicators today to identify the bottom. So we obviously looked at a certain area for a long time here on the channel, and we will revisit this area now as the price is approaching. And the most likely scenario that I've been talking about for a while now is coming into play. So there's a few other charts that I want to look at today with you guys that we haven't looked at that much before, such as Bitcoin dominance. A lot of questions and have been raised about Bitcoin dominance, whether it's going to continue in its current trend. There's a very strong 2-year uptrend going on, and as well as a very clear target above us that we have reached every time before we went into alt season. So something we got to keep an eye on. And then, of course, I want to look at the Bitcoin CME futures, right? We have identified a bunch of gaps on the chart, and one of the gaps we actually just filled now. So that's good news for the bulls that we're approaching our bottom here. And there's, of course, another gap that lines up perfectly with all these indicators and everything that we've been using to identify our current bottom for the current downtrend for Bitcoin. Before I get into the charts, guys, I want to remind you that about my morning routine, right? It sounds a bit weird now, but there's the crypto loop over on bitcoineasy.io. I recommend you check that out. I've been working a lot on it. It's, of course, my website, bitcoineasy.io, and the crypto loop there is your one-stop shop for news and analytics when it comes to crypto and Bitcoin. Now we added some traders from X as well, some popular crypto traders, so you can get all the charts and everything there as well without having to go into X and to get all the noise out there and all the spam and yeah, a lot of weird stuff going on there with the bots. I feel like the bots got even worse since it's been renamed. Before, back in Twitter, it was bad, but if I go into my notifications now, I sometimes have 20 to 40 notifications from someone trying to shill some meme coin or something. So definitely something they should do something about. And yeah, but nonetheless, you should follow me over there as well because I'm updating there nonstop. So let's go straight over there. Here we have it. Bitcoineasy.io as well over on X, and then for my private account, Pat Does Crypto, go check that out too. And here I want to show you the first thing that we get into today, of course, the CME gaps, right? I've posted this here a couple of days ago. You can see that we still have 2 gaps to fill here. And this one here, actually now, I updated the chart today on Twitter as well. So this one got filled overnight. And then this one is left here, right? We can see that we wicked down into there, but by definition, to fill a CME gap, we want to at least trade within the range for a while. And then we have to look at the 4-hour range, 4-hour chart to see if that was the case. But nonetheless, we have not reached the bottom of the gap yet. So likelihood that we revisit that area and get slightly below it, such as always the case when we close the gaps. We never just, never. I mean, most of the time we don't just touch the top of the gap. We go way beyond it and then continue in whatever trend direction we're in. So let's see right now what we can do right here to close this gap. And for that, we go back into the charts. Here we have it. This is the current gap that we closed. As you see on the previous chart, it was still red. Now it's green. And that's how just to make it easy for you guys to see which kind of gaps we closed in the past here within the range, right? You see all the green gaps, these have been filled. And if you look at them, every time they have been filled, right here, we created the gap right there. We always shoot way beyond them. Every gap you can see, we don't just reach the exact point of the gap. We always go beyond that point. And that's important here because there's a key area, obviously right below us, which we will look at on the other charts in a second. But yeah, that lines up perfectly here with our thesis, obviously. Something else that I posted on Twitter and here on the channel many times before, for days and weeks now, guys. You know exactly what I'm talking about, right? Let's go check it out right down here, right? This is where I told you guys this is my most likely scenario for Bitcoin right now. And I also wrote there are many possible scenarios for Bitcoin to continue in this bull market, but if I had to bet the house on one of them, this would be the one for Bitcoin. And here we can see that I was talking about the retest. Obviously, we went a little bit higher than this. Since I didn't expect this to all happen in one candle with a massive trap here. We could have gone up to the 50 or even the 61.8 here on the Fibonacci retracement and revisit those previous highs. But we did it in one candle, so we met resistance pretty early here and went back down right from the 95K range. So really, really strong resistance. You can see the 50 here, the previous range support, the downsloping trend support, and a lot of stuff that we met there, and clear spot to take profits for your trades here. And now let's go into the live chart again and see how that looks over there. Right, here we have it, Bitcoin USD on the daily chart. And there we see that area that I just spoke about on the CME chart that we will look at in a second on the weekly chart, because there's more stuff that we need to focus on. That is a very, very strong indication that the bottom lays within that area. So here we can see it very clear from the post that I made on X before, right? Where I said we're going to reach this area, and then we look at the live feed, exactly what we did. Obviously, we shot above it. I expected to go sideways and up here, and then to meet our resistance at some point here. Or here you can see very clearly where the resistance came from. The previous range here, which we can see in a second very clearly on the 4-hour chart as well. The 50 on the Fibonacci retracements, and then the downsloping trend here, of course. So the clear area here now to get back down to, obviously, is to revisit the low and the support of this downsloping channel, as we identified that as a very, very strong support in the past. I mean, we see here the many touch points we had of this trend line, and then of course also here below us waiting this area here. Right now, from a moving average perspective as well, interesting to see that we're approaching now, maybe, yeah, we just reached the 200 SMA here on the daily chart as well. You can see this is the moving average that we just closed above and then rallied back up. So going to be interesting to see here a very clear identification of a continuation of the downtrend here if we start closing below here. So keep an eye on that moving average as well, which lays right around $82,586 right now. So a daily close below there, clear identification that we go back down here to the downsloping support line, and then we need to look for confluence as a support. As you know, guys, we don't focus on diagonals that much. We look more for horizontals, and horizontals is what by definition always gives us the confirmation for a trend reversal, right? If we start going from lower lows and lower highs into higher highs and higher lows, then by definition we have a trend reversal from a downtrend into an uptrend, and that's what we're looking for. And therefore we're looking to get a higher low here. That's our first accomplishment on the chart, and then confirm that higher low with a higher high. That would give us here the trend reversal. And for that now, obviously, since we set a lower high here now, that is our target, not the 98,300 range on a closing basis anymore, but now we're looking here at the 94,400 range on a daily closing basis to get above that high, start closing above it, and then to turn this downtrend here into an uptrend by printing higher highs and higher lows. So let's go over now to the weekly chart, where it's easiest to see what we're looking at here for the support. And there we have it. So first of all, we see a bunch of stuff here on the chart. Let's focus first on the Fibonacci retracement, right? I remove here the extension. And let's look at this retracement right here, with the dotted lines, right? We can see two Fib retracements here on the chart. We get started with a smaller one, which comes here from our swing low, from the previous range low, to our current all-time high, right? And there we can see this very, very strong 61.8 level waiting for us right in the area where we're also expecting a bounce from a price action perspective, right? You can see a really strong previous supply area or resistance area that is then likely to turn into demand or support area, right? And that lines up perfectly here with the 61.8 of that retracement that we just looked at. And then we have to look at as well here on the larger retracement that you can see on the chart, and there it comes all the way from the bottom of the trend till the current all-time high. So from 15,500 to our current high right around 109,000. And one thing you got to know about Fibonacci retracements: the stronger the trend, the shallower the retracement usually is. So we're more likely to bounce somewhere in the 23.6 to 38.2 range. If the retracement, if the trend isn't as strong yet, then we usually have a deeper retracement somewhere towards the 61.8 or the line in the center 78.6. Of course, the 50 also a very strong level always, but not an official Fibonacci level. It just shows you the exact middle of the range. If you look at Fibonacci numbers, that's not an actual Fibonacci number. So keep that in mind. And then the important thing is here, we can see also a strong confluence in the 78.6 and 50 range here, right around 62K. But if we get down there, and especially if we close down there here on a weekly closing basis, then there's strong indication that the bull market is over and that we're going over into a bear market. And therefore, I pull out an indicator here as well, a moving average, very, very important one. We spoke a bunch about in the past as well here. And there it is. This is the 50-week SMA, guys. So the 50-week SMA is usually the point of when we start closing below it. And that's the bottom line, the line in the sand that we're declaring that we're going either from a bull market into a bear market, or if we start closing back above it, we're going from a bear market into a bull market. I showed you this in the last few videos already, and even a couple of years ago, we looked at it a bunch here when we were looking for the bottom, where I called the bottom at 17,500 a couple of years ago. This was a strong indicator as well for us to identify that bottom in combination with the 200-week SMA. But here, what we want to see now is, you can see here we rallied up in the 21 cycle here, right? We rallied up. Used it as support after we came down from our 65K top, bounced off it, put in our 69K top. The moment we closed below it, we got rejected, went into a bear market, right? And we can look back here all the way till the beginning of Bitcoin has always been the case. So let's go just here all the way till 2013, for example. You can see here, we bounced off it, came back up. The moment we closed below it, went straight into a bear market. Got rejected here. The moment we got back above it, went into a bull market. And that was the case every time after we put in a new all-time high, right? Here we didn't put in a new all-time high. We bounced off it, came back above it. But the moment we closed below it, it was over as well. We put in our March 2020 low here. Now, of course, a historic event. Huge opportunity for everybody in crypto and basically involved in any type of investing. And then the moment we came back above it, that's when we went on our huge bull run here to put the 65K top and 69K top. So that's why, guys, here in this area is where we must bounce, right? We can wick below it, we can just touch that area, but important is that we come back above that 50-week SMA, close back above it, to then identify the continuation of the bull market, right? The moment we close below it, historically, it's game over. You can see here as well how beautifully we used it here back last year in summer as support, and then came back above it to here, then break the range highs and put in our current all-time highs here. So this obviously then the key area here from many, many perspectives to get a bounce. You can see from different Fibonacci retracements, from moving average perspectives. We can also go over to the 3-day chart here. And we can see also key indicator here, very similar to the 50-week SMA. We see the 100 SMA here on the 3-day chart. Also key support always throughout bull markets here for Bitcoin. And that lays right in that area as well. So what we want to do here is just get below it and close above those moving averages. And then here, basically bounce off that area in confluence with the support line here from the downsloping trend, from the falling wedge, those moving averages, the Fibonacci levels that we saw before. So I think you get the message, right, guys? The important thing that you need to consider always is that different traders use different systems, right? Not everyone is looking at the same stuff. Maybe someone is just focusing on Fibonacci. And that will be the case, for example, for you guys, if you start watching my Fibonacci trading series. I've been promising you guys that the video is coming out, but now you can see right here, right there, this little one here is a puppy that we just found on the street a couple of days ago. She's actually pregnant, that we just found out this morning. So that's been taking a lot of my time. That's why I'm doing all these live streams at the moment. I don't really have time to sit down and edit videos and so on. Plus, I feel like this is a better way to connect with you guys and to give you my viewpoint of what's going on in the charts as fast as possible in combination with what I'm posting on X, right? So yeah, guys, keep that in mind. The trading video is coming out. I hope I can do it by today, if not tomorrow for sure. That's my part 1 of the Fibonacci trading system, where we will start with the fundamentals, and then throughout the weeks, just complete the systems for you guys to have a system to follow, to be confident in. And this is good for anyone who's new to trading or who's an expert in trading. For me personally, it's still part of my arsenal all the way since 2016 when I started trading. So really, really reliable and good for anyone who's just looking for something that they can use with confidence and trust. And since it's based on mathematics and you see how accurate these Fibonacci levels always are if you draw them correctly, then that's for you. So make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell to get notified when that video comes out. And also follow me over on Twitter or X, where I will let you know in advance as well. Right, guys. And then obviously there's people that don't look at Fibonacci. There's people who look at moving averages. That there are people who are looking at price action. And when everything aligns in one certain area, where you see that different systems show you the exact same signals, like there's the bottom, there is a very strong likelihood for a bounce, and they all line up in the same area, then guess what? Then you will have a lot of people targeting that area, here in this case, for example, with short positions, or on the other side of the coin, a lot of people putting orders in for long positions there. So one thing that you got to keep in mind, that there's very strong likelihood that there is a bounce in that area, but there's also very strong likelihood for traps in that area. So once we reach that area, you can't just blindly put your orders in. You want to wait for confirmation. And especially since it's such a fine line of deciding whether we're in a bull market or a bear market, you got to be really, really careful when we get down there. Let's go back here into the charts now. Once again, of course, talking about this area, and you see here, let's go through it again. Downsloping trend line, 3-day 100 SMA, massive previous supply area, now hopefully turning into demand area, very likely turning into demand area. Then on the weekly chart, we see more stuff. We see those two Fibonacci levels lining up, the 50-week SMA there. And yeah, guys, this is obviously the area, and the area that we've been talking about for such a long time now here on the channel. Since I started putting videos out again a few weeks ago, right? I've been telling you guys that that's the most likely level to get a bounce from if we lose the range up here in the 89K to 92K region, clearly visible here on the daily chart, right? And that's what happened here. We lost that gray box. The moment we close below it, boom. Right, guys, now the last chart that I want to look at with you guys, one very controversial chart, the Bitcoin dominance chart. Here we have it, and there you can already see that strong trend, even more visible on the weekly chart. This is the first thing that I want to look at here, and this is something that I've been getting a lot of shit about on X as well, because I was defending my point here that I don't like to argue with a trend until it shows me that the trend is over, right? The trend is your friend until the end. And here, since the end of 2022, where we also called the bull market back in the days, where I told you guys back in summer 2022 that most data is showing and pointing towards December 22 for a bottom to be reached, completely confirmed, and then that we rally up from there. That's also what happened. And that's when we built this massive trend here on the Bitcoin dominance chart as well. And then if you look at all the previous cycles here, I always tell you guys, I don't consider this area here in the Bitcoin dominance chart so much, because that's when Bitcoin was fully dominant, right? There was not really a lot else going on in the market. There were not that many altcoins in circulation, stable coins in circulation, and therefore, of course, an area where we can't really compare to what's going on in the market now. But then December 2020, we put on our Bitcoin dominance top here. Of course, then we know that's when also the all-time high was in for Bitcoin, the 20K top. Then here we see in November 2019, that's when we had another massive rally. We didn't put in an all-time high, but we put in the 50K top, 15K top, and then here January 2021, before obviously the massive year where we had huge all-time highs of 65K and 69K. And every single time we came up to this area here, you can see it circled in black, supported here by that orange line, and you can see that's right in the 70 to 72% range. So the most likely thing here, what this chart is suggesting, and people have been telling me over on X that the chart is not suggesting that, but we have a very strong uptrend here, right? And I have no doubt that the dominance will drop over time, that altcoins will become more of a dominating factor in the crypto market. But until that's not proven, if it's not proven that it will happen this cycle or the next cycle, we don't know when it will happen, right? So until then, we got to trust the charts and the data that's available in the charts. And we have not had lower lows here, lower highs here yet. We always reach that area. We have a very strong trend headed to that area. And therefore, the most likely scenario is here that we break out again and reach that area of 70 to 72%, right? And then if we zoom in here a little bit, go onto the daily chart, and we can see here that we always have a trend within a trend, of course. And we're currently holding a very strong range, right? We have this uptrend here where we have had a correction, started forming lower lows here, and then came back out of this trend here and actually sitting right above the previous high here right now. So this is a very strong range here. You can see supported by the diagonal support line here, also by the horizontal support line. And here what we want to see is obviously a daily break above the area of 62% to indicate that we're continuing up here towards the trend line here, right? The trend line resistance. So, and there's very good likelihood that we then also challenge the previous high here of 64.3%. And if we then lose this trend here, for example, we break down from there, fall down here and get back below that moving average, and then the trend becomes visible on the larger scale right here on this massive uptrend, and we also lose this big moving average here, which is obviously as well the 50-week SMA, and we fall below the trend line, the moving average, and everything then is clear indication that things are changing on the chart. This cycle is different. We're not going as high for the Bitcoin dominance this time around, and that alt season might kick in before we reach any of those levels, right? So keep that in mind. But until then, everything's still pointing to the same direction. And there's also something I've been posting over on X. So yeah, make sure, guys, follow me over there. That's where you always get everything the fastest, right? Here you see a lot of charts, some memes as well, bunch of videos, so I keep you updated. And also I post here when I release new stuff on the website, such as blog posts and new additions to the crypto loop, for example, which I'm coming to now. So you can see it here, crypto loop on the top. You can just click any of those and we'll take you directly down to the section where you want to be. Live news, economic calendar, crypto X, that's a new addition, market overview, technical analysis, and the charting tool. So let's just scroll through here quickly. Crypto news, you always have on the left side. Financial news covers all the markets worldwide. Then below, the global economic calendar, where you see all the main events coming up all over the world. By default, it's sorted to just display G20, so the largest 20 economies in the world, and only high importance events. If you see anything that you think will have a big impact on the price action or on the market, then you can just open it up, add it to your calendar, and it will be saved on your device, so you get notified when the event starts. And there you always also get a description of what's going on there, what the event exactly is. Then below, the new addition here, Crypto X News. So a lot of our favorite news sources here on X for crypto specifically, all conveniently gathered here as well. So sometimes it takes a while, obviously, for them to bring out the news articles, and then they post something quick on X first, and here you get it immediately. And we are actually activating notifications here as well now, so you can get notified whenever there's something new posted in the crypto loop. And right below, Crypto X Charts, a selection of popular traders over on X, where we also looked at them first to make sure that they know what they're talking about. You know, there's a lot of influencers now posting charts and so on that just got into crypto and just trying to build up some hype, I guess. But these ones here are actually legit and have been around for many years and are posting legit charts. So if you're tired of my analysis or your own, then go ahead and check them out as well. There's some really good stuff in there. And below, of course, the market overview, where we also added the Fear and Greed Index now. Here you have the vital charts, always Bitcoin, USDT, ETH, Bitcoin dominance, ETH, BTC, total 2, total 3, and of course the heat map, everything here customizable as well. So you can display exactly what you want to see. Obviously we want to see green on here, but today, unfortunately, it's all red. Then below here, the market screener, performance monitor, we can see all the tokens in the system, basically the same thing you see on CoinMarketCap. And yeah, Bitcoin indicators based on moving averages and oscillators here, giving you sell or buy signals across different time frames. You can see always what, if you want to keep the chart, for example, clean, you want to look at the oscillators and moving averages on an average here. Then you can see this always here on this screener. As you see, everything extremely bearish here. And then a charting tool. If you find anything above here, then you can always come down there. For example, you find a new token that you haven't looked at before, you can chart it down here, take it into full screen mode as well, or take a snapshot for later reference, or to share it on social media. Now let's go quickly back into the chart. I want to look at the 4-hourly chart here to give you the confirmation levels, right, that we need to look out for in order to identify whether the price is moving higher or lower. And there you can see right now we're sitting right above the line in the sand here, the 78.6. Obviously, this is the retracement here for this big uptrend here, this push to the upside the other day from where we found our bottom in the 78K region to afterwards the Trump pump happened here and we broke down from there. We can see how nicely the Fibonacci levels here have been behaving as well. And now we reach the 78.6, the line in the sand. If we break that, then it's likely that we at least revisit the previous low. And as you know, as you've seen on the larger time frames, most likely break those lows and go down to 72 and 74K, or maybe even all the way down to 70K, since it's such a strong psychological target, but nonetheless, very key area there to get a bounce from. So here what we want to do now, from a bullish perspective, hold this here, continue closing above the 78.6, get a bounce here, and then get back above here the 50. You can see that's a key resistance level on this chart here, right around 86,300. And then we would expect to test the previous highs. But right now, potentially, we could have put in a lower high here, but everything is pointing towards that we then continue in this trend here, also put in a lower low and continue to the 74 and 72K range. A trend reversal here, or a continuation to the upside, would be confirmed, of course, if we get a bounce here somewhere above the 78.6 and break the previous high and re-enter this previous range that we lost here in the 94K to 99K range, right? This range here is what we want to regain as support. And then we would have a very bullish indication that the bottom is in. That then would also display on the larger time frames. And we would have strong likelihood that we're challenging the 102K and 106 to 109K area and breaking out previous highs. But that's what we got to do now, guys. This is important to get a bounce here, to break back above there if you want to avoid the move down to the 72 to 74K range. If not, that's the most likely area to get a bounce. And I tell you guys, in my opinion, there's no real fear yet that we're not bouncing from there, that we're going into a bear market. So keep an eye on that area. Make sure that you see exactly, mark down all the levels that I showed you, what's important also from a moving average perspective, as far as the 50-week SMA goes, or the 100 on the 3-day chart. And then, of course, here the key confirmation levels on the Fibonacci retracement as well on the smaller time frame, where we want to hold now the 78.6, and then and worst case scenario here, of course, start closing below the 79,170 level on a 4-hourly closing basis. Then that would be confirmation that we're breaking this low here and going down to those targets mentioned before. Right, guys, I'm going back now to taking care of. It's not only one puppy. We have 2 puppies here, of course. My dog Lucy laying on the other side of the sofa, and they're both chilling right now. But I gotta feed them, walk them now, go down to the gym, and go on with my day before I hopefully finalize the strategy video that I want to really bring out today, between today and tomorrow. So keep your eyes out, hit the notification bell, look out on Twitter, and then you will catch it as soon as I put it out. Right, guys, hope you enjoyed the video. Hope everything is clear in the chart. If you have any questions, get down in the comment section, and really appreciate it. I would really appreciate it if you liked the video, if you appreciated my content, and yeah, guys, I'm out now. And as always, happy trading, and see you soon.